What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. Now for this video, we're going to be diving into Heroes Reborn, issue number 4. And man, this is a good one. You guys are not going to want to miss this one. Now, if you're not caught up on this line, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything going on in this awesome line. And it is written by Jason Aaron. Art is by Ed McGuinness and James Stokey. And this comic is really going to be focusing on the Power Prism, on Dr. Spectrum. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, as we dive into issue number 4, we pick up on the blue area of the moon. And here we see many races from all over the galaxy. We see Kree, we see Skrull, we see a little bit of everybody here. And they have all gathered because it's time to take somebody out. They have all gathered to hire some individuals, to hire some bounty hunters. And this is when we see the baddest bounty hunter in the entire universe. That bounty hunter being none other than Guardians of the Galaxy's Rocket, accompanied with his faithful freaking machine gun, Groot. Now Rocket, he lets them all know that he's going to be able to take care of Dr. Spectrum. He's going to be able to take him out because that's what he's getting hired for. Everybody is tired of Dr. Spectrum being around, and with Rocket being the best bounty hunter around, they figure this is one of their last options to really take him out. But Groot, he wants to know some more information. Like, what did he do? Why is everybody so angry at him that they hire somebody so talented? And this is when we hear a voice of the Watcher. And the Watcher lets us know that every story that you have ever heard about Dr. Spectrum, it's 100% true. He knows this because he's literally watched all of them. For a long time, he was a silent witness to all of the atrocities. But one day, he could not stand silent any longer. He sought to intercede, and even though it was against his sworn duty as a Watcher, he had to do something. And because the Watcher intervened, Dr. Spectrum took his freaking eyes so that he could no longer watch anything. Now, Dr. Spectrum, he believes that everything he does is for God and country. And that's what all of them have been talking about. Every single one of them. Blur, Hyperion, and now Dr. Spectrum. They are all saying that they are doing this for God and country. They seem to be extremely religious fanatics. That mixed with the power of the Power Prism, Dr. Spectrum is literally a religious zealot. And the Watcher says that Dr. Spectrum, he must die. And this is where we pick up with Dr. Spectrum doing the freaking most. You know, Dr. Spectrum has been like a space police, kind of like a Green Lantern Corps, if you will, all of his own. And when space needs policing, he's the man they call. When there's something otherworldly headed their way, he's the one they call. When Thanos got his hands on the Infinity Rings, he is the one they called. And he straight up blew the rings off of Thanos' hand. Used a freaking machine gun and just shoots all of his fingers off. The Celestials, they believe themselves to be gods. Dr. Spectrum, he thinks otherwise. So much so that he went to the Celestials and he tore one of their heads off. He tore it off and brought it back and used it as a black site top security prison, just to show that there is only one God out there, and that God, he's American. And this prison is where he keeps the toughest of the tough. From Super Skrull to Beta Ray Bill, all of these individuals have been locked up here. Anybody that has come to challenge him has been taken out. Now, as Dr. Spectrum is making his way away from the prison, this is when he gets ambushed by Rocket and Groot. And we see our eye patch wearing Rocket literally lay down an arsenal on top of Spectrum. Now, Dr. Spectrum, he knows exactly who this is. This is freaking Rocket Raccoon, the deadliest bounty hunter in all the galaxy. Now, based on the fighting that he is seeing from Rocket right now, he kind of laughs at him, thinks he's a joke. Like this is really the best you got. You're supposed to be the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter, and you're shooting bullets and rockets at me. But this is when Rocket pulls out his secret weapon. That secret weapon being Groot. He pulls him up like a freaking machine gun and starts firing away. And this is where we see tiny little mini Groots, bullet Groots, making their way, attaching themselves onto Dr. Spectrum. Now, Dr. Spectrum, he tries to block them off, but alas, it fails him. They come in from every direction, and they're attaching to his body, and starting to take him over. And as Groot is slowly getting inside of his body, taking over every part of him, Dr. Spectrum, he is screaming to the Prism to help him. He doesn't know what to do here, and the Prism is just kind of sitting there. It's not doing anything. It's kind of just letting him being taken over. And so it really looks like Rocket has won this fight. It looks like Dr. Spectrum is about to be taken out. On top of being taken over by Groot, he also uses a maggot gun and shoots these maggots at him. And he tells Groot to finish him off, take him out, and he's going to try to grab the Prism. But as Rocket tries to grab it, the Prism shoots down and lands directly on the face of Dr. Spectrum. And we see Dr. Spectrum, he sheds off Groot, using his power literally burning all of the little Groots. You know, even though that he bonded to this Prism years ago, he still literally knows nothing about it. No science can tell him anything about it. And so he believes that that God himself chose him and gave him this thing, and that's why he's doing all of it. That's why he has the power of who he is. Believes that God gave him this power to rid space and Earth of all the abominations. And that's exactly what we see him doing here. He is literally blasting the crap out of all the Groots, and he turns his attention to Rocket, and he blasts Rocket. And we see Dr. Spectrum use his weapon and literally slice Groot in half. And it looks like Rocket's about to lose this fight. But this is when we see the freaking Starbrand appear on Rocket's chest. And he takes all of his power and he shoots it directly into the face of Dr. Spectrum. And this obviously throws him off. He takes that hit and he's confused. Like, Starbrand shouldn't even be in this reality. But the last individual that carried the Starbrand, he tossed them back into the negative zone. And so right now he's super curious on how Rocket was able to come in contact with it. But Rocket tells him, you know, you shouldn't even be worried about that. What you should be worried about right now is what I'm gonna do with it. And this is where we see Rocket literally create a giant cannon that shoots freaking stars. And he launches this weapon. He shoots it at Dr. Spectrum, but Dr. Spectrum literally laughs at him. He's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you think this is the first time I've had a star thrown at me? You think this is the first time I've had something like this? Like, I literally eat this kind of stuff for breakfast. Like, I wake up in the morning and this is my morning routine. And he tells him, you know, I've literally absorbed entire realities. I've absorbed them into my prism, and now he's going to give him a taste. He's going to give him literally an entire galaxy full of cancer, and he shoots these monsters at him, and they take over Rocket. And this is where Dr. Spectrum, he takes this opportunity. While Rocket's guard is down, he grabs him and he shoves him into a supernova. But he doesn't kill him. He interrogates him. He wants to find out exactly who put this bounty on his head. Now, Rocket, he held out for a long time. Hours, literally holding out. The only time he starts talking is when Dr. Spectrum, he threatens his ship. And that's when he starts saying everything. And with that, the Starbrand, it fades away. It fades away as he dies. And Dr. Spectrum really has no idea where the Starbrand went. And this is where we see the mothership. We see Mothership Guardian. And its systems have detected that Rocket Raccoon, he is dead. He is perished and he is no longer with us. And this is when it starts to play a audio recording that he recorded. And the recording, it's really just saying, you know, if you're hearing this, then I have died at this point. And if I have died, then you need to stay low. You need to stay safe, because one day you and the Starbrand are going to save the galaxy. Now this is where we pick up a little bit later, and Dr. Spectrum, he's talking to the president about how Starbrand managed to elude him this time, but they also learned that the Watcher is the one that hired the bounty hunters, and that soon enough, Dr. Spectrum is going to go up there and he's going to deal with this entire situation. Now, Dr. Spectrum, he's a little bit concerned right now. Concerned with the Blur. Because after the Blur had gone through the Dread universe, he was babbling on about something being wrong with the world. Like he had seen beyond and could tell that the fabric of reality had been tampered with. Now, Dr. Spectrum, he believes this to be nonsense. He believes that if there were something like this going on, someone like Dr. Spectrum would surely have seen it by now. And as they give money to the communion plate, on the money, on the bill, it freaking says, "In Mephisto, we trust." And as they look up, it is a shrine dedicated to him. In that will be the end of this issue. So one heck of a freaking cliffhanger we were left on. And of course, it's always him. He's always the one behind it. Everybody was literally joking about WandaVision, and then they decided to go ahead and do this. Like, Heroes Reborn, Jason, he's like, all right, let's do this. Let's throw it in there. Like, why not? Let's have some fun with it. But I really did enjoy this issue. No, it really does dive into Dr. Spectrum. I've really enjoyed Heroes Reborn as a whole. Now, we didn't see much going on. We didn't see anything happening with Blade or Captain America, but they're working in the background. You know, I'm really excited to see everything unfold with Captain America. I'm really excited to see how he has his power over Hyperion. You know, I've seen a lot of theories jumping around, theories from he's a form of kryptonite essentially, or that he has the Century's powers. And I love all the freaking ideas. I love all the theories. Keep throwing them my way. Let me know what you guys think. If you haven't yet already, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown,